Welcome to the Gear Up Achieve AI College and Career Speaker Series presented by QuantHub with support from Auburn University. Today we're talking about something you've probably heard about everywhere, artificial intelligence. But we're connecting it to an exciting career field offering tons of opportunity right here in Alabama, cybersecurity and IT. Cybersecurity is about protecting your personal information, banks and payment systems, hospitals, schools, businesses, and even national security. And AI is transforming how we protect those systems in powerful and positive ways. Our goal today is simple. We want to help you see what's possible, show you real people who started where you are, and remind you that a technology career is not about being a genius coder. It's about curiosity, problem solving, persistence, and integrity. Today we have with us Ms. Laura Vaughn, a cybersecurity leader who's spent over 20 years protecting digital financial systems and now serves as a fractional Chief Information Security Officer and consultant. Dr. Jerry Dozier, the Charles D. McCrary Eminent Chair Professor in Computer Science and Software Engineering and Director of the Artificial Intelligence and Identity Research Lab at Auburn University. And Jonah Mabry, a 2024 Alabama Data Scholar who built a machine learning training system during his high school internship and is now a freshman at Auburn studying software engineering. As you listen to these panelists, think about what interests you, what problems you care about solving, and what is one practical step you can take this school year to start building toward your future. So, all right, panelists, let's start simple. What did you want to be when you were in high school, and how has your career path changed since that time? Dr. Dozier, we can start with you.
Okay. Yeah, in high school, I was just kind of, going to school. I was, to be honest, I was more into like football. My mom and dad would say, "Well, Jerry, you read a lot in high school." I didn't read my textbooks. I was reading football books. Any football magazine I would read. And so the thing is, I really didn't have I was just going through high school. I got good grades. But then there was this one class. It was a data processing class, and that kind of changed my life. So once I, started programming, everything just changed. And yeah, so and then after that, I saw that, wow, you can really you can get like worked out in this stuff. The time changes. And so, I was thinking, well, if I get a job, if I, get an 8-hour job doing this, it'll be like me spending 5 minutes a day because time goes by so fast. So that's how that, so I really didn't have a direction until, I would say one class changed my life.
That's amazing. And Miss Vaughn, what about you? What did you want to be when you were in high school, and what's changed since then?
I'm one of the oddballs that I've known I wanted to get into security since I was in high school. The movie Hackers came out, and they were starting to have these scholarship for service programs through the government, saying, "Oh, you could do security." It was information assurance at the time. We didn't call it cybersecurity then. We didn't call it cybersecurity for a good bit after that either. But I grew up around computers, and both my parents were very mechanically inclined and had me just explore what I wanted to. So take a computer apart, put it back together, have fun. And I was taking programming in high school and realized that this was something I could do. So I set my mind that I want to learn how I can go detect people doing things they shouldn't be doing or that weren't intended on the internet and on systems. And that really led me down the path. I had the great opportunity. I went to Birmingham Southern College and was able to do my senior project on the campus network, looking for that unusual and suspicious activity and making changes. And that really set me up on a path to step straight into security. And I was fortunate enough to land my first job in the security world.
Wow. So you've been on that path for a while. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
That is great.
Um, and Jonah, you're just now a college freshman, so you're a recent high school student, but has anything shifted since you were in high school in terms of how you're thinking about your career?
Um, I mean, not a ton. I would say that I've always been interested in like math and science. That's really interested me. Um, and my dad works in the software engineering field, and so he introduced me programming pretty early on, and ever since then I've been really interested in it and just experimenting.
That's
So yeah.
great. Yeah, and could you tell us a little bit more about your internship experience too while you were still in high school?
Oh yeah. So with the Quant Hub Data Scholars program, um, it was. I mean, I don't know if I was completely ready at first, or at least I didn't feel like it. But I mean, when you hear the term like machine learning internship, uh, it sounds a little intimidating. But I quickly realized that the goal was not to know everything right off the bat. It was to learn and ask questions. And so I at Simple Helix, which is the company I worked at, I worked on some beginner machine learning projects, such as determining whether an image of a tire was flat or normal or full. Um, and the basic idea of machine learning is basically showing a computer a lot of examples so it can learn patterns in the data. Um, and one thing that surprised me was how much, I guess, experimentation is involved. For example, my model did really well on the training data, but struggled on new images or like test data. Um, and I had to try different techniques to fix it, and eventually the accuracy improved. But yeah, it taught me that working in tech is less about knowing everything and more about being curious and basically just determined and wanting to learn. Yeah.
That's great. I see everybody shaking their heads on that. So that's great to learn that lesson in high school and to have had that opportunity already. And I think that actually is a great segue into our next question. And that's really talking about what AI is actually doing in cybersecurity and in the world of IT. And you're talking about detecting flat tire images and maybe making a lot of mistakes at first. But when people hear AI and cybersecurity, it can sound really futuristic. So maybe, Dr. Dozier, could you tell us a little bit more about what AI is actually doing today in your field?
Okay, and well, in cybersecurity, my research area is actually cyber identity, and so what has happened is when we look at the information or the exhaust that we're digital exhaust that we're putting out there, it's quite easy for hackers to kind of identify you just on your digital exhaust. That's all changed to AI systems now. So now you've got these AI systems that are really good at identifying individuals based on particularly on their writing style, and then they can trace you across the internet just solely by your writing style. What I've been doing is developing systems, and these are AI systems as well, to give people back their anonymity. So we have systems that can look at your writing style and look at even the way you behave and your mood, your style. And actually look at that and say and hold up a mirror and say, I know who you are. Now, how do you want to change it? And then we give you some tools to kind of change your your writing style so that you're not detected. Now the thing is, we've got Chat GPT. I'll be quick here. But the thing is, the interesting thing about people using these new AI techniques is that there's a lot of ways to use them, and you can actually be identified, right, uniquely by the way you use ChatGPT.
Mm.
That's something to think about. And so we're working to that end as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting, a little bit scary, but very cool. And Miss Vaughn, could you tell us a little bit more about, what AI is actually doing in your line of work?
I want to say I love the term digital exhaust
Mm.
because it's a very apt description because now for years we've been leaving behind traces, little breadcrumbs all over with cookies and all that. And I love that as a term because it's a very visual. People inherently understand what that means. So in my world, I'm mostly working with enterprises and businesses to help them protect against attacks. So that includes things very similar vein as what Dr. Dozier's looking at, which is deep fakes. People are using AI to go and impersonate threat actors. There have been some really big news stories about scenarios where people have been tricked into sending money after getting into a Zoom meeting with the CEO of the company that looks like the CEO and sounds like the CEO. And the technology to do that is so accessible. I actually built a demo to do this for a Birmingham AI event. It took me 30 minutes to build a deep fake that would just write it up, cycle through a bunch of images, and present your your person as somebody else's face. So in the cybersecurity world, it's not just about the technology pieces, it's how do we build systems and how do we protect against some of those threats? Because we don't have the technology to detect when it's a deep fake right now. And the technology is moving so quickly that, in 6 months, it's going to be even harder.
Oh,
Even within the short period of a month, I did that same exercise of creating that deep fake platform. The first time, it took 4, 5 prompts with my AI coding assistant. I redid it yesterday for a presentation. I did it in one prompt.
oh no. That's
Yeah.
very
So
scary. Yeah.
these are real things that are happening. Yeah, and I can go into more of how the speed of attacks is changing because AI doesn't get frustrated like humans. I can
Yeah.
tell it, hey, go figure out how to break into this thing. And the best human hacker in the world is not going to be as determined as that AI is, nor as fast. So it's
Mm.
figuring out how do we adapt and respond at the same pace.
So I guess piggybacking off of that, how is that changing what professionals need to be very skilled at, or how is that shaping, what a student who wants to pursue cybersecurity needs to focus on now?
I, I think my biggest recommendation is always going to be curiosity and willingness to try new things. That the people who are most successful over the years that have been hiring people and mentoring people, the ones who come in and aren't afraid to go click around in a tool or to go explore something different, they don't say, oh, I haven't been trained yet, so I can't do that. They just go in and start learning and figuring it out on their own are the most successful. And with I think that's very much what we're going to see is that the people who are exploring and learning and trying things are going to get better at it. They're going to be better suited to be able to adapt and respond to those threats from a cybersecurity perspective and to build systems that are actually using AI for good.
That's great. And Jonah, that sounds a lot like your experience in your internship. Just try some new things, learn on the fly. You don't have to be an expert right off the bat. No one expects that. Because we're all, it sounds like, learning as we go, even folks who have been in the business for a long time. So that's great to hear. Um, Going back to Dr. Dozier, What would you recommend high school students look for when choosing a college if they're interested in technology?
Okay. Yeah, I would look for a university, first of all, that can get you to where you want to go. You have a fuzzy idea of what you want to do. You want to find a university that can get you there. I mean, you can look at where they place their students. You can call and ask and say, well, I'm really interested in this. I'm interested in cybersecurity. What's your cybersecurity program like?
Mhm.
And your graduates in cybersecurity, right? Where do they go? What do they do? And then find something that kind of matches what you'd like to do going forward, and also know that things change, right? So you want to have a university or a college or a faculty, right? That doesn't have to be a big university, small university, but that also has that breadth, right? So that you can wiggle around in this whole area notion of cybersecurity and AI and cyber and AI for cybersecurity
Yeah.
and get to where you ultimately want to go.
That's great advice. And Ms. Vaughn, you had mentioned doing a project on your college campus while you were still a student. Could you maybe speak to that involvement and how you determined your college plans based on that?
Yeah, I knew I didn't want to go to a big school, so I ended up, choosing a smaller school that had computer science. I knew that's why I wanted to major in,
Mhm.
and it was a small faculty, and I was able to build really great relationships with all three of the professors on staff. Like I'm still in touch with them. One who recently passed, unfortunately, but talking to them and having that support to go, well, you're interested in this, you should go look at this, or have you thought about this thing? And gave me the confidence and the support to go do what seemed like a really crazy project. Like I look back at what I did as a senior in college for my project and go, I can't believe they let me do that on the campus network. But it was a fantastic learning experience. And there were clubs. We had the Association for Computing Machinery Club and other things happening that allowed me to do more. I did programming competitions. Those are all opportunities that were public and available that really helped me learn and grow into who I am today.
That's great. And Jonah, how did you decide on which college to attend and what major to pick? There are so many of them, it seems like.
Yeah. Um, let's see. I mean, I wanted to stay close to home. Originally being from Huntsville, and so um, I was thinking between Auburn, which I chose, and Alabama and Mississippi State. Um, and I mean, I really could have chose either one of them. Auburn just really clicked with me. And then based off my major, I was between computer science and software engineering. However, software engineering would help me, I guess, get a job for since I want to be a software developer. I feel like that would give me a better I don't know, experience or tools for that.
Yeah. Well, and that's smart to be thinking about your career after college, and not just picking a major because it sounds fun at the time, but really having that longer term plan. So that's all great advice. If you could go back to your high school self, would you have changed anything about your college decision, or would you have any words of wisdom maybe to share with high school you versus college freshman you?
Um, I would probably say don't don't avoid any classes just because they seem hard. It seemed like some of the classes that helped me the most later on. were the ones that were the most challenging. I'll also say to start building things earlier, or like some like personal projects. And this really helped during my internship, because I learned, or most of what I was doing wasn't what I learned in class, but based off stuff that I learned from small projects, just built up. Um, and the last thing I would say is just apply for opportunities. Such as, I mean, this program, I almost didn't apply for the program, but I mean, that ended up being one of the experiences that has shaped my path so far.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's great to hear. I definitely like that last point. We're so glad you applied to become an Alabama Data Scholar. But I think that's excellent advice for students to just apply. You got to put your name in the hat to even be considered. So that's step one. And I do like that, just trying your own projects outside of class too. That's really smart. Switching gears just a little bit, Ms. Vaughn, you've led cybersecurity strategy at the highest levels. You've worked with some top financial institutions. What does leadership actually look like in technology, and what skills matter there beyond just technical ability?
Uh, it's funny that a lot of people think to succeed in technology, you got to be the best technician and the best at your technical expertise to be
Mhm.
able to move up. Uh, but funny, that's not always the case. My number one regret is I wish that I had taken business classes in college.
Mm.
I thought, oh, well, I'm going to be a computer scientist. I don't need to know about business. Yeah. So, years later, we won't say how many, I would have definitely benefited from some of that knowledge because technology doesn't exist in a bubble.
Mm.
Technology exists to support a company and their business and what they're doing, unless you were in academia or very, very distinct subsections of the market. Most people will be working for a business whose business is not technology at its core. So being able to understand from a security perspective how what we do from security benefits the business. Is it customer acquisition that customers only want to do business with companies that are secure? If you have a major security incident and you're in the news, that impacts your business. So being able to articulate how the technology and the security remediations and concerns and controls will make the business better is a really big skill set. And that requires a little bit of business knowledge.
Mm.
It requires really strong communication skills. And that's something that I think is sometimes lacking in people who come from engineering backgrounds that maybe they didn't focus as much on writing and speaking and presenting. And those are all things that as a leader are really beneficial and part of my day-to-day life.
That's great. Dr. Dozier or Jonah, would y'all like to add anything to that?
Well, when you say what skills matter most, just beyond beyond just technical ability, I say collaboration. You've got to be a team player. You've got to that will take you a long way as you progress, right? You're going to be put into on a lot of different teams in a lot of different positions, right? Some positions you're very familiar with. Others are like, hey, we needed you on the team. We think you can do this. Can you give us your best effort? And then being able to deliver. But I would say collaboration, teamwork, being a team player is something that's extremely important.
I hear that football background coming to life,
Oh.
going back to your high school days. But no, I could not agree more. That's great words of wisdom. And Jonah, do you have any suggestions for maybe how you can bring insight beyond just the technical skills to help with your, classroom success, and success within technical environments?
yeah, I mean, uh, based off what Dr. Dozier said, I did an internship this past summer at a company called AdTran, and I was in this team where I mean, all you did was collaborate and communicate with others so that you could help work on things like going to other people on the team for help on things when I needed them was huge. Um, and so yeah, I would say communication or teamwork is a big one.
That's great. And these are all skills that any student can start to learn right away. You don't really need anything to start practicing better teamwork, better communication, public speaking, and reading into business or topics outside of technology. So thank y'all for those words of wisdom. For students in schools who may not have many tech classes or much access to technology locally, particularly students in rural Alabama, what would you all recommend they start doing this year to help prepare for college and career success? Anyone can start. Y'all just jump in.
I guess I'll jump in. There are so many free resources available online to learn just about anything that having that self-driven curiosity and learning is something I encourage everyone to do. If you're in high school, if you're a grandma, everyone in between, there's so much that you can learn now because it's easy to get to. Back in the
Mhm.
days when we had to go to the library and check out books all the time, it's a little bit different. Now you walk around with a device that has a world full of knowledge on it, and it's amazing. With the AI, LLM, your Chat GPT, Claude, all of those, you can say, "Hey, I want to learn how to do this. Tell me how." And you can get answers, and it's amazing. So I would encourage everyone to take advantage of those types of opportunities.
Absolutely. Um, Jonah, were you involved in any clubs or activities in high school that helped you prepare for college?
Um, Not a ton. I played tennis. I guess maybe that helps.
That's pretty
Yeah,
significant. Yeah, that's not
yeah.
nothing.
I would say like coding wise, YouTube was a huge one. Watching YouTube videos or tutorials, that helped a lot.
That's great. Do you continue to use that in college as well?
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. And Dr. Dozier, do you have any advice for students, maybe in rural or underserved parts of the state who don't have access to a lot of opportunity locally? What should they start doing now to prepare for success?
Everything that was said before, um, but I would like to add just one word that goes in front of that, and that's the word persistent,
Mm.
right? So persistent learning. We talked about curiosity, persistent curiosity. We talked about YouTube videos. Have a persistence with that. Because the thing is, when we're learning, we don't always get it the first time, right? As an undergrad, and more so as a grad student, even the book that I got. Here's the textbook for the class. I'd open it up, and if I learned, people told me that if that book is not speaking to you, go to the library and check out another book, and sort of be persistent and know that these things take time. So don't get frustrated with yourself. Don't get frustrated. It's gonna come, right? But I would just say anything you do, put a little persistence in front of it. Okay.
That's great advice. Yeah, so really build those habits and stick
Mhm.
with stuff. Don't
Mhm.
just try something once and give up. And I think
Mhm.
that's really been at the root of what you all have been talking about with success in cybersecurity and technology fields is that persistence. So that's all great advice. All right, so we're nearing the end of our time. I think just a few more quick questions. Let's just start with what is one myth about AI that you all think needs to just go away?
That's a tough one.
Um, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that it's not necessarily a myth, but an assumption that people assume that the AI is right. And AI, I tell you, is not always right. And when AI writes code for you, it is not always right because these large language models are trained on information on the internet. And what do we know about information on the internet? Not everything on the internet is true. So, going into any engagement with an AI model seeking truth and seeking answers, you need to be very cautious and diligent in making sure that the information you're getting back is correct.
Great advice. What do you all think? What's a myth about AI that you'd like to see go away?
Well, I was actually going to say the exact same thing, that AI is not always right. I mean, it references like large amounts of data, but it still makes mistakes. Like the accuracy relies on its internal training data, which I mean it usually lags like several years behind um, what's actually going on. And so things could have changed. And so I don't know. It's not always right. That's what I would say.
Sure. So maybe we should be critical about AI outputs, and question what data is actually being used to train the models. And Dr. Dozier, are you going to say
Okay,
the
I
same
would.
thing?
This is kind of goofy, all right. But okay, I would say one myth is people think that AI is new
Mhm.
and scary. But AI has been around for a long, long time. We've been using it for years. Google, our maps. I even have, but believe it or not, I have a toothbrush. Oops, excuse me. Um, I have a toothbrush, right? That's AI. They say it's AI enabled. Okay. But so one, it's new and scary, but it's really old. It's been around for a long time. And you can understand it. You can use it ethically and responsibly. You can grasp it. It's not something that's beyond you, and I don't think it ever will be beyond you. It's something that you can use today.
That's great. Yes, we all seem to think it just uh, appeared overnight,
Mhm.
but you're right. It has been around for quite a while. And I guess one thing that we didn't touch on is that AI is going to replace jobs. I think that's the myth I would like to see go away because what it's really doing is changing jobs, right? And changing the types of skills that students need to start building, that job seekers need. So it's really changing jobs, and I think giving people a lot of maybe new tools to work with, adding to our toolkit and helping us do work differently.
Yeah. Well, actually, in cybersecurity,
Mhm.
it's really interesting because one, we're not creating enough cybersecurity professionals. Okay, so one, we need more folks in cybersecurity, and when we look at this agentic AI, that that makes it so the thing is now when you have these agents, you're going to need an increasingly more number of cybersecurity professionals to handle these agents because it's not like it's going to take it's going to take teams, right? Teams of cybersecurity professionals to handle, right, responsibly one agent.
Mm.
And so I think when we look at AI and we look at agentic AI and cybersecurity professionals using agentic AI for cybersecurity, it's actually going to multiply the number of cybersecurity professionals
Oh,
that we're going to need. So this whole notion, this new area of cyber AI is going to explode. So we're not going to be losing jobs. We're going to be creating a whole bunch of them.
great. So that sounds like this is maybe a really good career path for our students to
Right.
choose because there will be lots of job opportunities.
Right.
That's great to hear. Um, and last question, I guess one last chance for any words of wisdom, maybe what you would go back and tell your 14-year-old self.
Okay. All right. Don't get discouraged. Don't give up, and continue to work hard and stay curious. Don't be afraid to, one, ask why. Don't be afraid to go ahead and pursue, the answer to that question why.
Love it. Miss Vaughn,
I think I'd be in the same vein. Just always be curious. Don't be afraid to go try something new.
that's great. And Jonah?
Yeah, I would say just go and learn something new and uh, apply for an opportunity. Um, yeah.
Yeah, great. Short and sweet. No, I love it. Thank y'all so much. Um, I think the real takeaway here is you don't have to have it all figured out right away. You'll learn along the way, and there are lots of people who are excited to help and support and help students grow their careers. So thank you all very much. Well, if there's one thing that I hope you take away from today, it's this. You do not have to have everything figured out right now. Technology careers aren't reserved for people who were coding at age 8. They're built by people who stay curious, take school seriously, seek opportunities, and keep going even when things feel challenging. AI is not something happening far away. It's shaping industry right here in Alabama, from banking to healthcare, aerospace, agriculture. The people building and protecting those systems can be you. So here's your challenge. Before this school year ends, I encourage you to take one step. Try a new class, join a club, learn something online, just build something small and apply for an opportunity. Your future doesn't start in college, it starts with the habits you build now. We're excited to see what you create. We'll see you again in March with the next edition of the Gear Up AI College and Career Speaker Series.